Hi, I'm Val from Quilty Pleasures, and today I would like to show you the stick and stitch seam guides from Clover. They're really nice. I have just recently discovered them, and I'm sold. I love them. So there's a couple of ways of using them. And the first thing, when you take them out of the package, they are extremely sticky, which is great because they will not shift, and they've got a nice lip to them, so they give you a physical fence, if you like, to keep your seam nice and straight. You may have tried piecing before and using your 1/4-inch foot, which is wonderful, it really helps. But sometimes when you're doing strips, for example, you will get, I don't know if you can see this, Amy, you'll get a bit of a wow when you're doing a strip set. These kinds of guides prevent that. And I'm not a physicist or anything like that, but I have a theory about why this happens. And I think what happens is that as you're feeding your fabric into your machine, using your 1/4-inch foot, you're kind of manipulating the fabric and steering it, and you're concentrating so hard at the edge of the foot, which is right next to the needle, and you're kind of steering that it distorts the fabric. If you have a guide that's well ahead of the needle, it gives you can concentrate on feeding your fabric here rather than here, and let the machine do the work. Let the feed dogs pull the fabric through the way they are meant to. You're not steering, the machine can do that part, and you just have to keep it straight. So these guys with their adhesive strip, it comes with a little, you can't really see it in here, it comes with a clear plastic template that has holes in it so that you can put your needle in and actually find the edge. I forgot to bring my package with that in it, so I'm just going to kind of use this ruler. So I'm putting it ahead, and it really sticks. It is quite remarkable. And then it gives me I can steer here, and it's staying where it's supposed to here, so that my 1/4-inch is accurate. And what's really cool, there we go, is you can put two of them together. Whoops, backwards. So that it gives you a really long surface that you can feed against. That's great. The other thing that is useful, if I take my second guide over here and put them, I've put them 2.5 inches apart, when I go to, I need my strip, yeah. So I'll take this one out. When I'm feeding a strip set in, oops, I didn't get it quite right. It kind of corrals both sides and keeps everything straight, and I can, make sure that my fabrics are lined up, and it just feeds them in, and it prevents that wowing that we saw earlier because everything is being fed well ahead of the needle. The other thing that I like using these guides for is curves. So anytime you're doing something like a drunkard's path or circles for pieces to applique on or whatever, some of the masks that we're making these days are made with circles. It's difficult to use a 1/4 inch foot on a curve, especially if it has a guide on it. You should not be using a 1/4 inch foot with a right guide on it for curves. Okay, if you look here, this point here is where it's even with the needle, and it's 1/4 inch away from the needle. Because my fabric is curved and my foot is straight, there is a difference here, and if I used the edge of my foot to do my guide, it's going to make my seam allowance too wide. So I want to maintain this curve. So then I can sew around, and you can see I have to keep that edge against the guide, but it's ahead of the needle, so as I'm doing that, the foot is staying on the edge of the fabric where it belongs. So you kind of have to fiddle around a little bit to get the right spot for your particular curve. Every one will be different, but once you've got it, you can just whip around that whole thing, and it will keep your curve nice and smooth without stretching, which is important. A lot of times when we're doing drunkard's paths or set-in sleeves, things like that, there is a tendency to stretch if you haven't stay stitched, and who can be bothered doing that? So this keeps things nice and flat and unruffled, and you'll be unruffled, and it's great. I think you'll really enjoy having those. So those are the stick and stitch seam guides from Clover, and give them a try. I think that you'll find it makes a big difference, and that there's lots of uses for them, so that's another plus.
Washing them off.
What?
Washing them off?
Oh yeah, they are very, very sticky, and I've had mine for quite a while now, and I'm taking them off and putting them on and repositioning them all the time. They're still very sticky. Apparently, once they get kind of linty or whatever with time, you can just wash them off, and it kind of revitalizes the stick. When you first get them, they are extremely sticky. They're hard to get off. You have to kind of use a red tag or something to pry them up, but they do last for quite a long time, and you can refresh them and they'll last even longer. So there you go. Thanks.